It is the Daily Autism Radio Show all across these great radio stations on the Gulf Coast of Florida and streaming beyond all across the globe, worldwide. That's how we're doing Daily Autism now, worldwide. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We really do. It is Marc and Melissa, autism parents of coming up on 3 years for official diagnosis for our son, Cal. He is our fifth child. He just turned 6.
Yep, he was diagnosed this month.
Yep, this month. So we're coming up on it's 3 years, right?
Yep.
Yep. I don't know why I can't keep track of all of these dates and times and numbers and everything. It just gets, it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
I remember it all.
You do. You're like the vault of autism information. You have all the data. It's good. So a packed show today. We are going to have on Tracy Slepcevic, the Warrior Mom. She wrote the book Warrior Mom, which you can get at warriormom.org. It is a mother's journey in healing her son with autism. Fantastic book. We were lucky to be one of the first to read it in the world. And really a guidebook for parents as you start to navigate these waters of an autism diagnosis, which can be very tricky, very challenging, frustrating, stressful, all the words, really. But she provides some great resources, and I think just a really open and authentic roadmap of what she did with her son, Noah, who I should say just graduated high school, just got his driver's license, is attending college, and just turned 18. So
yeah, that's very inspiring.
Very inspiring, and it really gives you a sense of hope. And, I think we overuse the word hope, because I think just humans do. But sometimes you just need it. You need something to hope for.
I agree.
Like, it's okay. And I know it's kind of a weird, like, gushy, mushy word, like hope. What are you exactly hoping for? But you got to have that feeling of like, I can get somewhere good, somewhere positive. So we're going to have Tracy on here in just about 30 minutes or so, talk about the book a little bit, talk about these latest studies in probiotics and gut health. And also, she has created the first ever Autism Health Summit, which is coming in February. And we'll get details on how you can get there, get tickets. Great resource for parents to get together in person. And it's at an awesome resort in San Antonio. So, why not, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
So many good reasons to get to the Autism Health Summit. We'll check in with that coming up shortly. Check in with Tracy. I wanted to start, it's funny, you can reach out to us at dailyautism.com. That is our platform online, which we are active nearly 24/7, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, our LinkedIn channels, our podcast platforms, our newsletters, our autism hotline. But, there's been some interesting conversations this week regarding autism and parents, which we really try to be a resource for parents of autism. One of the things that came up on TikTok, which is really, there's been some good conversation, good debate. And sometimes I'm like, okay, why are we even talking about this? But so many people are talking about it. Do you say child with autism or autistic child? And does one bother you more than the other?
No, it doesn't bother me. I don't have time to be bothered. But I would say, what was it? Child with autism?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a child with autism.
Yeah. It's interesting. So some people are saying, like, and I was reading this off of the thread here of this conversation of the video post. And it's like, you don't want to say somebody with, and this is just some people, you don't want to say somebody with autism or a child with autism, because it sounds like the autism is part of them. And I'm like, well, they were diagnosed, right? And other people say, well, don't say autistic, because somebody made a good point. It's like, well, if you get the flu, you're not fluistic, right? So it's just so.
Well, I do say he's autistic.
I think we use both, and I say we, like everybody, we interchange them, and we don't even realize it. The doctors say both. They usually started out saying with autism, but then sometimes they'll say if somebody is autistic. But when they're speaking about your child, I've noticed they say with autism.
Yeah, I mean, our kids say he has autism.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they say to their friends.
Yeah, somebody made an interesting point, and they said, well, what if your child has just more than autism? And then you say special needs or on the spectrum. And yeah, I mean, I think there's this politically correct movement out there. It's a small movement, but, those people can be very loud. People who are angry about words can be very loud.
Right.
And I think that there's that movement of like, don't say this. But there's no real good reason why. And, it's funny. I started off the video post of going, you know how I really feel about this? Special needs parents or parents with autism or parents with autistic children, because you have to, say, we're tired, stressed out, it's challenging. Like, we really don't get into it. Like, we don't really think about it. I don't even think about it when I say it. I will on social media because I know somebody's going to say something. But honestly, do the words really matter?
No, they don't.
Yeah. Now, if you're 30 years old and you've been diagnosed and you're at a level of functioning where one bothers you over the other, that's fine. You can feel that way. I support that 100%. Where I dive in on it is, let's not allow your opinions to become a parent's reality. Telling a parent you shouldn't say this about your child, it's like, well, so now your opinion has to become a reality. Well, that's like a dictator. That's too much.
I feel like a lot of the people that are mad about it are loud about it, don't even know about autism.
They don't even know. A lot of them don't know about it. Yeah. Especially the more severe, lower functioning autism. We've said it before. Gosh, if one day Cal can hold a phone and get upset about something he sees and express his emotion civilly, that's a win. We would love that. So when I see people expressing their emotions and being thoughtful and articulate, I'm like, well, this is great. I'm glad that you're able to do this. And it's great. I mean, it doesn't mean we have to agree, but I'm glad that this is how it's working out.
Yeah. And I do have a lot of hope for Cal. So hopefully
we just talked
day,
about hope.
I know. Hopefully one day when he is functioning enough, he can say, autism is a part of me. I am autistic and autism's a part of me. Like I see people writing, well, autism doesn't define you. And that's fine, but autism is still a part of him. I don't think that I think if he's functioning enough, I think he should be proud of how far he's come.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation because I don't ever really understand when a parent says autism does not define them. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. Like I don't know what it means. What is one thing that would ever define your kid?
Right.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. What defines me? What defines you? I don't know.
I don't know what it means. I mean, it's.
But people do say that all the time.
All the time. And I'm just going, I think we're getting into semantics here. Like, I think we're really starting to say things that we don't even know what we're saying. Like, I mean, I am proud of who he is and what he tries to do every day. I don't know what that means. What is a definition of that or not a definition of that? Somebody wrote in one of our social video feeds, and I thought it was great. Hey, just be respectful of my kid, and you can call him whatever you want, however you want to describe it. And I just thought that was really well said. There's a lot of these programs now, though, and they push these narratives of what you can and can't say. And I feel bad for the parents who are tired and challenged, and they sort of start questioning themselves, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Is this bothering other people? No, you have a child that needs you. You worry about you and your child.
Exactly.
And if you want to say and describe your child as something because it feels good for you or you think it's right for you and your child, well, you do that. Right. And that's cool. And somebody made a great point. They're like, well, my doctor says that my child has autism, and I'm just going to go ahead and trust my doctor. And that's great, too. I think that's solid as well.
Well, it goes back to the puzzle piece. I mean, I got the puzzle piece after Cal was diagnosed on a tattoo on my wrist. And I was like, this is our journey with autism. I didn't know what that meant, but I'm proud to have it on my wrist, and if someone asks, what is this? I tell them why.
Yeah. And some people,
but there was some people that were mad about the puzzle piece.
They get mad about the puzzle piece. Yeah. And so again, it goes back to, for some reason, your opinion now has to become our reality. Well, that sounds a little aggressive, doesn't it?
Right.
Anything you think, we have to just fall in line with you? That's a little aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I agree.
No thanks.
Most people that have special needs kids have no interest in any of this conversation.
It's the very small but loud, small and loud usually is anger. That's what it's fueled by. It's a small group of people, but they're very loud and they're angry and give them credit. A lot of them have some endurance for what they're doing. They keep going and going and going. But the reality is, there's not a lot of time for that. I say all the time, I think the puzzle thing's kind of cool. And also, Cal likes puzzles. There was a moment he liked puzzles, where he would kind of do puzzles and stuff. So, what's wrong with that? I mean,
Well, they say
our kid likes-
spectrum, so everyone's a piece of the puzzle, you know?
Well, now there's a new symbol where it is kind of more of a spectrum. And so you're just a part of this long spectrum. And that's supposed to be a little more welcoming instead of these little pieces that you're missing of the puzzle. And so that's where kind of the debate came in, you know, and we're just not a part of the debate. We'll have the conversation, but I'm sort of just like, I'm really happy when every family can do what they want to do without some loudmouth coming out and screaming at you.
Yeah, it's too negative for me.
Last thing, honestly, if you really have compassion, the last thing that the special needs families need are people screaming about them, about a logo, a color of a puzzle piece, autism versus autistic. This people, we don't need it. We don't need it.
No, it's too much.
It's too much, and it really is kind of embarrassing, to be honest. But I wanted to have the conversation because the conversation is being had all over the place, so it was important to at least to talk about. Again, dailyautism.com is how you can connect to our social channels. We would love to meet with you there, conversate with you there, and all of that good stuff, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, or any of our other social media feeds. Real quick, I want to mention and thank the original Krabby Bills, Indian Rocks Beach, Florida. They are one of our community partners. This is a fantastic organization, fantastic group of restaurants. There are more than just the original Krabby Bills on Indian Rocks Beach, but that happens to be our favorite. Let's just call it what it is. They've been doing this for over 40 years, so you know they're the best, and they actually just won an award from the Tampa Bay Association of Newspapers, Best Seafood and Best Dining Experience at the Beach. So,
and this week has been the oyster week, and I had raw oysters.
Yes, until the 6th, until August the 6th. Whenever you're getting this radio show or listening to the podcast, original Krabby Bills, Indian Rocks Beach. I know one of the specials is the dollar oysters.
Yes, raw oysters, and then they have cooked oyster dishes 5 different ways.
Yes, so live music every single day, and a great happy hour, great place for parents to get together. And we always tell special needs parents, try to have that moment to be social, live life, go on a date night. And our spot for that's the original Krabby Bills. So we appreciate their partnership. Great people, and they do a lot of great service to the community. So we appreciate that, but enjoy all that they have going on as the summer starts to wind down a little bit. So you gotta, as we get into August,
it's almost school.
It's almost time. I wanted to bring up this story because I thought it was, by the way, I have not heard stories like this with autism. This usually is the other, this news story goes the other way. Before I get into it, it's a very positive story with a great ending. So I'll give you that right now. But you've heard the debates, and I think we've taken Cal out before, and we've seen this of like special needs parents and technology. And a lot of people say, you just can't give your kid an iPad and his headphones and just that be his life. You hear people say that. They're very judgmental.
Right.
But what a lot of people don't understand is many children with autism, they get aspects of communication. They feel things off of these digital screens. I mean, it is a big moment for them.
Right.
And you do have the judgment from the parents who are just like, you just can't, your kid can't live on technology. The iPad can't raise your kid. But again, if you know what autism can be in many kids, you would know that they get a lot of their sensory information, their education, their information from these digital devices.
Yeah, it's a lot of learning, and I think it's a lot hard for a lot of them to have relationships, so they feel connected on this device.
Yeah, and we talk about Cal. He's an old soul. He loves the old school cartoons.
Yep.
Old stuff. Tom and Jerry.
Looney Tunes.
Pink
Panther.
Curious George.
Right.
So he really, he enjoys watching for whatever reason the really old. He's not into the new modern animations and stuff like that. It's the old stuff, which I just think is so cool. And again, it's something. I mean, we didn't say, hey, let's watch cartoons from the 50s. We didn't say that. He found it and enjoyed it.
He found it, and especially if you're in public. A lot of the kids get overstimulated. So to have their device and have the headphones is important.
Yeah. And so this story here, this news story kind of pushes back a little bit on some of that judgment that people face, special needs parents face. There's a kid in Ohio. I say kid, he's 22, but he was diagnosed with autism at 2 years old. It's a great story. And he was outside. This was a few years ago, but I just found the story. As with most of these really good, meaningful, hopeful stories, it doesn't get enough attention. So I wanted to give a little attention. But he was outside and he started hearing these screams. And he just knew that something was wrong. And he's nonverbal. So what he started to do, he couldn't tell where the screams were coming from. But what he started to do was he took video and pictures of his neighborhood, posted the video and pictures on the local police Facebook page. And he wrote, "Police, we need police help. Loud screams, big scary people screams." That's what he wrote, okay? And with the video and the pictures. The police department, to their credit, are actively monitoring the Facebook page. They have somebody that, because it's important. I mean, people communicate via Facebook today.
Right.
So the police get this, and they're looking at the videos and the pictures, and they figure out the neighborhood because of what he was posting. He was clearly trying to tell them where he was.
Wow.
And then they saw the screaming and big, scary, screaming people. So they race over there. The police also hear the screaming when they get there. They find an 18-month-old girl drowning in her pool.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So they rescue her. She needs CPR.
Oh, my gosh.
She's taken to the hospital, and her life is saved. She's perfect now. Everything's fine.
Wow.
And they didn't know at the time that this kid, this 22-year-old named Aaron, is autistic, has autism. Our prior conversation. But, and so obviously they did a big thing for him, his family, and his mom and him were in the news, and it was just great. And so, I saw that story and I said, well, that is just great. You talk about, usually it's the child with autism that falls into a lake, a river, an ocean, and needs to be rescued.
Right.
Here you have the child with autism doing the rescuing.
That's incredible.
I thought it was just a cool story.
Yeah.
And,
and even to be nonverbal and be able to type that, that's what they learn from their devices, actually.
And I thought, okay, doing the pictures and the video, that's going to give them a clear idea of where the screaming's coming from. I just thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And geez, think about the family. Think about the family of the 18-month-old girl.
I know.
That's
crazy.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, you're probably going to say, if you know this kid, Aaron, would maybe be the last person that you would guess would maybe save your daughter from dying, from drowning.
Wow. Yeah.
It's incredible.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So great story, but I wanted to highlight that. And again, we have that posted on our social channels, which you can link to at dailyautism.com, as well as get a bunch of our podcasts. So I just thought that was great. And again, it pushes back on, headphones and iPhones and iPads are all bad. They're all bad. Well, along with Aaron's, kind of ingenuity and fast action, those digital devices connecting to a Facebook page save that girl.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a great story.
I've always said too, I think, I hope they find the cure for cancer. It's going to be on a screen. It's going to be people, doing these digital overlays and all of this research on screens. It's you can't just say, a screen's bad. Just because you didn't have one growing up doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
I didn't have one growing up, but there's a lot of positivity going on the screens.
Right. I mean, it's how people connect. It's how the world's working, actually.
I know.
It's crazy.
I mean, my dad is he's like, oh, these screens, my goodness. I mean, our whole life is on this screen,
Well, he also wants to avoid the internet and stuff.
Yeah,
and now
I know,
he's being forced to use it. I mean, now even getting a doctor's appointment, you have to download apps.
I know.
And
we
do everything online.
Even with the kids with autism and all the appointments and the therapies and everything. I mean, it's online. And even that still needs to get better and quicker, because there's a lot of that filling out all the portals and everything. But yeah, I think, I do agree with just because you didn't have one growing up and can't relate. I mean, listen, I also grew up camping every weekend, so I get it, and playing baseball and everything. That doesn't mean kids, they don't do that. It just means that there are other things that also that take up their time, but they're not all bad.
Right.
Some people use them for bad, but they're not all bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Crazy.
We also used to get in a lot of trouble going camping on the weekends, by the way. We get into things we shouldn't get into by doing that with no iPad. So we want to thank the Lift Academy, one of our newest community sponsors. You can reach out to them at liftfl.org. They are a very impressive community organization. This Lift Academy, what they do for these kids is really, really incredible. Their new campus is opening in fall, so just a couple of weeks. They were in Seminole. They've expanded. They've got a huge, beautiful, modern campus now in Clearwater. And more than 95% of their students are on scholarships. So if you have a child with special needs, neurodivergent kids, children with autism, I really would encourage you to reach out and research the Lift Academy. Again, liftfl.org. They are actively now accepting students for this school year, again, at their new campus in Clearwater. We've talked with them. We've toured their facility. Just a neat place where neat things are happening. So I think it's really cool. I think parents too, especially kind of newly parents who have kids that are newly diagnosed are relatively. I mean, we were unaware of what's available education-wise, and Lyft is certainly here on the Gulf Coast of Florida. They're making a massive impact in this community. So I would really recommend reaching out. I also love their real commitment to an anti-bullying environment, something we all worry about with our kids with special needs. They are very committed towards that, very active in working to that environment. So that is Lyft in Clearwater, the new campus opening fall and accepting students. Again, they will guide you through the scholarship process if that is something you're interested in. liftfl.org. Happy to have them along. Really, really, really cool organization. Speaking of back to school, and, in Florida, as we get towards the back to school period, we're getting into more prime and peak hurricane storm season. And you and I were talking last night. We went out for a little date night, right?
Right.
And we talked about evacuating for hurricanes, which we all have to think about, and stocking up for hurricanes and storms. But, when you have a child with autism, there are extra things you have to think about. When we were here, we were here with Irma, and we were out of power for like a week. It's like 7-8 days. But Cal was a baby.
He was 5 weeks old.
5 weeks. So, at it's hard to say, but gosh, if you're going to be out 7 to 8 days, you almost would rather your child be 5, 6, 7 weeks. You know what I mean? Because,
yeah,
it's uncomfortable for everybody, but at least there weren't all these expectations of how life is, and that it's not like that anymore. You're kind of new to the world. It was our first hurricane too. Yeah. Well, first one we had to really, pack up and get nervous about, right?
Yeah.
But children with special needs and evacuation of hurricane, and I bring this up, because with the tax-free holidays and a lot of people are back to school shopping and hurricane supplies and everything like that. You really have to sit down, and this is one of those things, everybody says it, but I don't think a lot of people do it. It all starts with, you have to sit down and just write out, we don't have power for a week. Just write it out. What would my special needs child, what would their reaction to that be? And you almost just have to write that out, right? And then once you see what's going on, then you write out, what are things I can have in place to alleviate everything I just wrote?
Right.
Right?
Right. So Cal would need Play-Doh. And because we wouldn't have internet, he wouldn't have his iPad. So I would need a portable DVD player that runs on batteries.
That is such a good one.
Yes.
I got to tell you, when you said that the other day, I'm like, that is so good, because if you don't have the internet, you don't have power, and sometimes you have power, not the internet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the internet, I remember that with Irma, when our power came back on, I think our internet was still a day or two behind. Because whatever damage they suffered, the internet provider. So you have to plan on long-term no internet.
Yeah, and Cal's really big into therapy, so on his downtime, he has his iPad. And if you don't have the internet or TV or show to watch, we would need a portable DVD player, which means you need DVDs too, just a couple DVDs, but definitely Play-Doh. And then his favorite snacks and foods, and his food is a whole different thing by itself,
Right. Yeah, I think too, like the snacks, the snacks are almost going to become more important than the regular food, because I don't know that you're going to have the opportunity to make all the regular food as much as you did. Because you have to conserve, if you're out, so let's say you're doing a propane grill in the backyard or in their front yard, you're going to want to kind of conserve that and not, use it 3 meals a day, depending on how much propane you have, but you're going to want to have extra snacks.
Right. But even for him, like, he likes bath time, and at bath time he uses shaving cream. So I would probably have shaving cream just for the sensory aspect that he could play. So have something to do,
Yeah. So so it's not just the food, it's the stuff,
right?
The fun stuff, that I think at one point we were so hot and tired with Irma, you would just put the kids in the car and drive around because we had air conditioning in the car.
Yeah. So another thing we were talking about last night was when babies are like newborns and parents are wondering how the baby's feeling. Like if I always said, like, if I'm cold, the baby's cold, that's when I know how to layer the baby's clothes and everything. So it's the same thing with autism for me. Like, if it's raining outside or it's cold outside, that's how I base off how I'm going to dress cows, how I'm feeling. So and a lot of kids are nonverbal, so they can't tell you. They can't say, I'm cold, I'm hot,
Right.
So that just made me think of Irma when he was 5 weeks old, and we were in the house for a couple days without power, and I started to feel bad. So I'm like, if I feel bad, this baby feels bad, and we're getting a hotel. That's it. I caved.
Yeah, and that's always an option, usually and hopefully, that you could get to a hotel if you need, if you just need. I mean, at that point, we were 6 or 7 days in. The house was about 100 degrees. And I think we were just all spent, just physically. I mean, really, it was just, emotionally, I think we were spent day 1 or 2 because you have so much fear and you're worried, nothing was open. You couldn't get to a grocery store, you couldn't get a cup of coffee anywhere. I mean, it was just.
Well, I was going to say, I would definitely stock up on coffee. That's one thing that I didn't even realize that we needed,
Yeah, coffee and then ice, right? You got to keep everything as cold as you can for as long as you can. And there's so many hacks that you can kind of research, one of the better ones I heard was, filling up your laundry machine with ice. That's a big cold steel drum, so it'll keep things ice cold, and it's supposed to have water in it, so it's fine. As the ice melts, it can just drain out, and so that's fine.
Yeah, so at that point in time, we had only been here less than a year, and it was really our first experience with no-see-ums. So our house, we had like the doors open, and all these no-see-ums were coming in. We were getting bit, and we had no idea really what it was until the air condition kicked on, and all of a sudden there's like 50 little dots, no-see-ums in the bathtub. Because as soon as the AC came on, it killed it all.
Instantly died, yeah.
But no-see-ums don't bite baby skin. So he was not getting bit at all.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible.
Well, babies, like, they're immune to everything. Like, they like a little baby can't catch certain things. They're so strong. That's the healthiest and strongest you ever are. When your first month or so, everything is firing on all cylinders, and you're just strong. And the bugs stay away from you. The viruses and the bacteria stuff stay away from you. I mean, it's incredible. But I guess
what is it? Colostrum.
Yep.
Yeah, they drink that right away.
They're getting they're getting the best of the best, right? And you've got a full body of brain cells. You're just,
you're fresh.
Yeah. Gosh. I want to go back.
Stop.
I want to go back.
No, but definitely it is hurricane season, and it's definitely stuff to think about. Load up on the batteries, get a portable DVD player.
Yeah, water. We overlook the water thing sometimes. You're. What was I reading? The hot water heater. You can pull water out of that. That's full of water. So there's a source there for water. Obviously, nothing's better than probably just stocking up with tons of bottled water. But again, the snacks and the little things. For children who again have autism, whatever they're. We talked about the electricity and stuff, so I think the DVD with plenty of batteries is great. Play-Doh, like we talked about, coloring books. And
even certain fans, like Cal.
This is a good one, though. You gotta be careful, yeah.
Yeah, Cal doesn't just have autism. He has global developmental delay, which means he just turned 6, but it's like he's 3. So toddlers don't understand. You can't stick your finger inside a fan where the blade's going because your finger can get hurt. So like a stand-up fan that can just move back and forth, that the blades are being covered, you know?
Yeah. So those oscillating fans that have the covers, the guards on them, and basically a stand-up one, so hopefully that they can't reach, because, you know, it's like that. You just forget. I mean, the overhead fans attached to your ceiling aren't going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not coming on. And I don't know, you know, Irma, over a week without power, every time I'd walk into a room, I'd hit the light switch. And I'd go, God, what are you doing? Like, it's just, but you
Out
can't
of habit, yeah.
walk into the bathroom, you know what I mean? And it's dark out and hit the light. Nope, got to get the flashlight to go to the bathroom. Can't see anything in here, you know? So it's all of those things, and it goes without saying, but, you know, you got to say it. And the other part, too, I think is important for this is in the last couple of years, Florida has just seen a boom of people move here. Most are totally inexperienced in hurricanes and tropical storms and just totally not prepared. If you've got I mean, everybody should be prepared, but honestly, with a child with special needs, you really have to double down, triple down on this stuff. You've got to get serious about it. And I know a lot of people up north, you know, you say your summer's is pretty much done at the end of August. Not here. We've had plenty of huge storms in September, October, and some in November. So we're kind of just getting into this right now. I think there's a belief where the kids go back to school and there's no more hurricanes. No, do the research. There's more.
You know what else I would get? You know those like little turtles we had like when the kids were little, and you press the button and it shows like stars in the sky.
Oh yeah.
Like that runs off batteries, and I would get that because a lot of kids are afraid of the dark, and your house is going to be dark. You know, plus you're all boarded up.
Yeah, headphones, and I'll tell you this, they may be different. Sleep headphones, if you can. So basically, headphones that aren't as, you know, if you do the ones just for the noise, they tend to be a little like more heavy duty. And I don't think that's comfortable to wear all the time. But the reason why I say kind of the more softer ones for at night is because of all the generators that are going on in the neighborhood. Let me tell you, that hum of all those generators, it's loud. It's not really, people call it the hum. It's not a hum.
No, they're very loud.
And then when your whole neighborhood is running on them, it's weird. When the power came on, I almost was like, where's the hum?
Yeah.
It was very strange. So sleeping could be an issue, if it already isn't, with a child with autism, with all the generators going. So we throw that information out there just to make you aware.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Tracy Slepcevic, the Warrior Mom, is going to be joining us here in just a couple of minutes. She has written the book, Warrior Mom, which you can get at warriormom.org. I'm going to talk to her about a few things, including the latest research on the relationship of probiotics and the gut and autism. It's going to be a great conversation. She joins us every single month. First, I also want to thank the Fun Factory Sensory Gym, one of our newest sponsors. Great, fun organization. They have done over 48,000 installs nationwide of these sensory gyms. What they do is they really bring the outside, the fun outside, to an inside controlled environment for kids on the spectrum. They do this for therapy centers. They do this for residential homes. This is a very remarkable organization. These people are hard workers. They've been featured on NBC before, but funfactorysensorygym.com is the website. They're all over social media. Love for you to check them out and see the great work that they do. And we appreciate their partnership and really appreciate their work and dedication for the special needs community. Fun Factory Sensory Gym. Really appreciate them. Also, My Salon Suite in Largo, Florida, one of our community partners. Great organization. We're featuring one of their stylists, Kim Taylor. She has a ton of experience, and most of her experience there at My Salon Suite in Largo services men and women, specializes in a variety of color treatments, and even offers a free consultation, and with that, you will get a discount towards color. You can grab all of her information at dailyautism.com and message us if you need more about Kim. Thank you again, My Salon Suite in Largo. Also, one of our newest partners, we're going to have a lot more about them coming up in August as the month moves on, is Technology North. You can get more about Technology North at technologynorth.net. A very inspiring organization in Canada that has really created a remarkable opportunity as children with autism get older to have some great career opportunities. And so we're going to have a lot more about them coming up. Technology North. We appreciate their new partnership. And again, technologynorth.net. really fortunate to be adding such great community sponsors to the Daily Autism platform, where you can get us 24/7 online at dailyautism.com. That said, Tracy Slepcevic, the Warrior Mom, has just joined us, so we're going to get to her in just a second. And again, we'd love to connect with you on all of our social medias, dailyautism.com, where we have some great conversations with great people, parents of autism. All right, Tracy Slepcevic is here, the Warrior Mom. You can get her book, Warrior Mom, at warriormom.org. And Tracy, I wanted to start off with this just really wave of research about autism, the gut, probiotics, and everything that has to do with gut health and autism.
There's a chain of events. There's a gut-brain connection. So your nervous system is actually connected from your gut to your brain. So anything that is impacted in the gut is going to affect you neurologically. And when you get a lot of these kids that have asthma and allergies and all these different things, or chronic ear infections. So Noah had chronic ear infections, which led for him to be on antibiotics and more antibiotics and more and more and more, which they destroy the gut. So antibiotics remove all good and bad bacteria, but Western medicine doesn't tell you to replace that good bacteria. And what happens is it gets coated in yeast, and yeast feeds on sugar, and it makes you crave carbs and sugars and all these things that are so bad for you. And then you also have the Western diet, like processed foods, non-organic, all these different things. So you have pesticides that are messing up your gut, glyphosate. Oh my God, glyphosate's in everything. It's in fabrics, it's in foods, it's in your water, it's in your air. It's horrible. So this affects the gut. All these different things. So you can have a genetic predisposition for anything. It's going to be an environmental factor that triggers it. You have several environmental factors, all different kinds of things, genetically modified foods. I could sit here and go through the plethora of things that impact these children in their bodies. So in turn, a lot of these things that we consume, which is like the food or the antibiotics, will mess up the gut. And there has been a direct link, and it didn't just come out, it's been out for a very long time, between gastrointestinal dysbiosis of the gut that affects the brain and affects them neurologically, which is why I tell parents, first and foremost, try the diet, clean up their diet. Don't feed that bad bacteria. And then also, get a good test for a lot of those underlying conditions. If you get a good stool sample to find out what's in the gut, is there any parasites? Is there any, bad bacteria? Yeast, all those things you can get from a comprehensive stool panel. So that's very important to really find out. And then also, way back in the day, people used to do a parasite cleanse. But there's so many things, but there is definitely, because of that nervous system, how it's connected to the brain, so much is happening with these kids. And that's why we're finding great results with kids that go on a very strict diet. And a lot of times we have to do that process of elimination as well. They can't just, come from a gluten-free, dairy-free. We have to find out, what are their food allergies? What are they sensitive to? And then address those issues as well, because that in turn is causing a lot of inflammation. But I really tell people, if you want to do like an anti-inflammatory diet approach for your child, lean more towards like a Whole30 or a paleo approach, which is no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, and eliminating grains as well, because grains are so genetically modified. But if they feel, there are those more healthy grains, you can find them like oats, like as long as they're gluten-free and they're not genetically modified, that's good. Quinoa, brown rice, all those things. But I would kind of just mull it. I would limit it to those. But really, if you really want to reduce inflammation in the body and in the brain, because, it's part of the body, is to really try like a paleo approach and try eliminating grains as well. Just eat real food. Know your farmers, know who, raised the cattle and where it's been, so that, you know what it is you're feeding your family now.
Yeah, it's amazing. In 2023, we have to say to people, eat real food. Like, that's actually, we actually need to say it, because so much of what people are leaving the grocery store with isn't real food. And I say grocery store, a lot of these grocery stores are now, they're big convenience stores is really what they've turned into when you look at what people are walking out with. That is really, really great insight on that. And you can get a ton more in Tracy's book, Warrior Mom, which you can get on warriormom.org. And again, I really would recommend following Tracy on all the socials. I want to talk too, because you've got the best-selling book now, Warrior Mom, and kind of an extension of that is the Autism Health Summit, which you have designed and is now happening in early 2024. Maybe for somebody who's never been to an autism conference, an autism summit, or any type of autism health conversation, really, or event, I should say, just kind of explain to that person who's never been, who you think would get value. What is the Autism Health Summit going to be about, and what are you going to get from it?
So the Autism Health Summit is all about addressing these kids' underlying conditions to try to get them to a functioning state, and also teaching them what different types of therapies are out there. We're going to do a spellers panel. We're going to show the Spellers movie. We're going to talk to doctors that do talk about the causes of, the gut issues and how to address it, how to implement the best diet approach, all different forms of addressing, what to do for your child. And even once your child becomes an adult. But it's going to be a great event. It's an opportunity for parents to socialize and be around other parents, because, as you know, sometimes us autism parents, we just feel so alone in the world, and like we don't fit in, and we see other kids and their children thriving, and ours are like dormant, and it's tough. But to really have that communication, to be able to speak with other parents, to be able to get information on different supplementation and treatments and all kinds of stuff, how to find the right doctors for your child. All these things are super important for parents and children and adults, autistic adults as well.
I'm really
or
glad.
Any neurological disorder. It doesn't have to be autism. I called it Autism Health Summit because, that's my background. But really any neurological disorder.
I'm really glad you said that about the parents, a chance for parents to get together, socialize, meet each other. A lot of what I've noticed in my almost 3 years really in this journey since, Cal was diagnosed, we meet a lot of people, but we meet them online, right? So we're through the screens and everything. Now, I've been lucky to meet you and your family, but that's unique. Usually it's through these screens. But, I know people through you, but it's through the screens and LinkedIn and iPhones and everything. This is a great opportunity to actually sit and have that real, communication, shake a hand, look into somebody's eye. I'm really glad you made that point of the parenting aspect, the socialization aspect, getting together and having a real conversation. I mean, I'm very excited for that, for the summit. The website is autismhealth.com. And all the details are there. It's a beautiful resort. It's San Antonio. It's kind of the place where you go and you really don't want to leave. You're almost dreading the last day where you have to go to the airport and go back home.
And you could take your kids too, because they have like a huge water park there.
Yeah.
It's like insane. It's a beautiful resort. The whole conference will be held in one room. So there's no breakout sessions, because I'm very much against breakout sessions because I don't want anybody missing anything. We have a great panel of speakers, some of the best experts out there.
Well, I'm really excited. I've told you before, I think this will be the first of many events that you'll put on. And a lot of people don't know, but your background, you're somewhat of an expert in putting on these big events, and because you've done this. So it's also kind of nice that not only this is your first event in this space as far as autism health, of you being the creator, the director, the producer, if you will, but you understand how this works, keeping people engaged, keeping the audiences engaged in the content with the speakers. And you talk about, hey, we're not going to do breakouts. We're going to keep people all involved. Nobody's going to miss anything. So I just think the way that you've structured this is really interesting, really valuable. And I think I know these parents. And it's funny because on the radio show, we were talking about it, and I get emails of people going, I didn't even know there was like an autism conference or an autism convention or a summit, whatever they called it. And they're just excited because they can get in a room of people who are going to understand everything that they've either A, been through, B, are going through, or C, may go through in the near future. That is an area, a space that a lot of these people need to be. I know I need to be in spaces like that more often, because this is a heavy weight we carry around. And it's not a victim card thing. It's just because you really care about your child. You just care so much that it's heavy. So it's just really great that you've created this, the Autism Health Summit. The website is autismhealth.com, where you can get tickets. And I'm excited. I'm bummed out. I got to wait 6 months, but I'm excited. I'm excited that it's happening.
I am too. It's definitely been a dream of mine. I used to run disaster preparedness conferences with my husband for about 6 years until, big insurance shut us down. And we'll see how this one goes.
Well, we appreciate. I think it's going to go great. Even 6 months out, and all the people I see who are talking about it. These are major players, and so I know this is going to be really, really well received and really valuable for parents. I'm very excited about the parents who have never been to something like this. When they walk in and when they leave, really, they're going to go, "Wow, I needed that." I think a lot of people are going to say, "I needed that," and so I think that's really great of you. That is Tracy Slepcevic. She is the Warrior Mom, and warriormom.org is how you can reach out, follow Tracy on all of her socials. Most importantly, get the book, which is now out, Warrior Mom. So you can do that right from warriormom.org. And again, the Autism Health Summit is autismhealth.com for tickets. And I think it would be great if you're somebody that's going to get value from getting tickets and going to the Autism Health Summit, to share that with a neighbor, a coworker who maybe is a parent of autism, somebody at your church, somebody, maybe somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, but that this is what they're going through. It'd be nice to drop that link to them and send an email and just say, "Hey, I ran across this. I think this might be great for you." So I would really encourage people to do that. And again, that's autismhealth.com. Tracy, you're the best. Thank you for joining us. I was telling people we have Tracy on every single month, and really, I really appreciate you putting the book out. It has helped us, and I know a lot of people have really appreciated it.
Thank you so much.
That is the Warrior Mom, Tracy Slepcevic, and again, you can get her book, Warrior Mom: A Mother's Journey in Healing Her Son with Autism, at warriormom.org. Well, that is another show. We appreciate you hanging around with us, reaching out to us. We're online 24/7 at dailyautism.com. We'd love to connect with you via all of our social medias for all of our conversations, all of our videos, our podcast, our giveaways. It's all there at dailyautism.com. Thanks again to our great community partners, including warriormom.org, the original Krabby Bill's, Indian Rocks Beach, Florida. Fun Factory Sensory Gym, My Salon Suite in Largo, and Technology North. Appreciate all of your partnerships as we continue to amplify the resources, the products, the services, and the conversations for the parents of autism. And whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, our newsletter, we'd love to connect with you. DailyAutism.com, and whatever platforms you're active on, we're there too at DailyAutism.com.